Hello, my name is Robert, and welcome to Make a Deposit. First of all, let me tell you a little something about myself. I was once on crack cocaine, and God sent someone to make a deposit in my life. As I was standing out on the street, and a little man came around the corner. He was just whistling, he was so happy, and he had his little Walkman on. And he stopped and asked if we want to change our life. And, even though I had my crack and I wanted to go take me a hit, something made me stay and listen to what he had to say. He told me about how he used to be strung out and how a man named Jesus changed his life. And so I listened to him, and he walked on down the street. And each day he would come around and stop and tell me about a man named Jesus. And if I wanted some help, he could change my life. All I had to do was just give my life over to him. And I wasn't a religious person. I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't read the Bible. I wasn't going to church. But for a long time, I wanted to get off of dope, and I didn't know how. And so one day, I went looking for him. I was tired of it. I just didn't want it anymore. And if he knew how I could stop, I was willing to take the chance. I was willing to do whatever it took for me to get off of dope. And so one day, as I say, I went around the corner. I knew where he stayed at. I went looking for him, and I didn't see him. So I walked back around. By the time I got back by the liquor store, turned around and sit on the crate, there he was. It was just like he popped up out of nowhere. And I told him, I said, I'm going with you today. So he said, come on. I took out my crack pipe, threw it, broke it, took out my lighter, threw it away, took out my cigarettes, threw them away, and I was ready because I wanted to change. I was tired of the life that I was living. I didn't want it anymore. And I thought my life was over with. I thought it wasn't any help for me, that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. But let me tell you, God has other plans for you. Your life is not over. And my life began the day I walked through the doors of Total Restoration Ministry. And it's like when I walk through those doors, it's like God snatched the desire. Alcohol, crack cocaine, cigarettes. I never had that desire anymore. And so if you're out there struggling and you think that there's no hope for you, I'm here to tell you there is. Hello, welcome back to Robert's Make a Deposit. As you watched my first video, you'll know that I was on crack cocaine. I was an alcoholic. I was tore up from the floor up. But the day I gave my life to Christ, as I walked through the doors of Total Restoration Ministry, my whole life changed. I met some brothers who were in there. When I walked through those doors, I hadn't showered and I don't know when. My clothes, and oh man, I was tore from the floor up. I hadn't eaten in a meal. And when I walked through there, the men in that place, they treated me like I was royalty. They accepted me. They didn't care about how I smelled, that my clothes were raggedy, and They helped me get undressed. They took me to the shower and actually gave me a shower. They scrubbed me down because I was weak. I couldn't hardly do it myself. And after they finished that, they gave me clothes. Each one of them blessed me with something. Because I didn't have nothing but the clothes that was on my back. And they were about to fall off. I had an odor and but they didn't care. You know, all it was that I was a human being who came down there and I needed help because a lot of the brothers that was in there, they had been in the same position that I was in. They had been out there strung out, walking the streets all night, eating out of trash cans. And so they gave me clothes. I changed. I got in some fresh clothes. I was clean once again in my life. And my hair hadn't been combed or washed. They even gave me a haircut. And so that began my journey, my new journey, as I learned to trust God. I had to trust someone. It's all about God this, Jesus. I didn't have no idea who he was. It was someone I couldn't see, and you're telling me I need to trust him? How? I'm not a religious person. I didn't know nothing about the Bible. I didn't know nothing about this Jesus. But as I opened up my Bible and I read his word, it began to do something to me. As I go to Bible study and I would go to church on Sundays, and I learned more and more about him, and I learned the promises that he made. And as I opened up the Bible, and as I read passages, I read some Proverbs, and I got to seeing part of me. He got to telling me about me, and it was a journey, and I started to trust in him. I got on my knees. I started praying. I started talking to him. I started telling him about the things that in my life that I wanted to change. And slowly, he started changing me from the inside out. For me, I didn't see the change, but for others around me that knew me, and I would go out, from the recovery home, we would go out every day, and I used to see people that I used to get high with, and there's something different about you. You've changed. I can't put my hand on it, but there's something different about you. And that was Jesus. He had changed me. He had turned me into someone he had changed me into who I was, and that I didn't know it because I didn't know that he lived in me. I didn't know about praying that he answered prayers. The things I wanted, I was out there, I depended on me and nobody else. But once I started depending on him, he opened up doors for me. My life, as I used to know it, what I thought it was my life, would never be the same again. I changed. I was changing. I was evolving. I was turning into someone that I could be proud of. I had lost my mother, and she used to always tell me, you need to stop what you're doing and give your life to Christ. And I regret that she passed away before I changed my life, before the Lord opened up his arms and let me in, and I became a part of his family. So if you're out there and it's like this with me. People say you think because drugs are the only addiction. It's not. You could be addicted to over-the-counter medicine, uh, eating, it, anything that takes you out of the norm that controls you and you can't control is an addiction. So don't look at just because you're not on drugs, you don't need help. We all need help. And I found my help in him, in Jesus Christ. And you can too. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.